My child, stop scrolling for just a moment. Before you turn off this video and lie down in the dark, I need you to hear this, because I did not bring you here by accident. Tonight, there is a door in front of you. Maybe it is a door in a hospital hallway. Maybe it is the door of an office you have never walked into before. Maybe it is only the bedroom door of a house that feels too quiet now, too unfamiliar, too big for the life you are living inside it. And you have been standing there, haven't you, right at the edge of it, afraid to step through, afraid of what is waiting on the other side, in the part you cannot see yet. I know that fear. Not the fear of a monster under the bed. You are not a child anymore. This is a quieter, heavier fear. The fear of the unknown. The fear of the test result you have not opened yet. The fear of the new place you have to move into. The fear of a hallway with no windows, a form you do not understand, a voice on the phone telling you to come in for further testing. The fear of walking somewhere alone for the first time in 40 years. This kind of fear does not announce itself loudly. It does not arrive with thunder or shaking ground. It arrives quietly, in the pause before you open an envelope, in the hesitation before you walk through an unfamiliar door, in the tightening in your chest when a nurse says a word you don't recognize. It is the fear of not knowing what the diagnosis will say, not knowing if you'll find your way in an unfamiliar building, not knowing if you will be able to keep up, keep pace, keep understanding a world that seems to move faster every year. You have felt foolish for this fear before, haven't you? You have told yourself, I raised children, I built a life, I have survived so much. Why does a waiting room still make my hands shake? My child, it is not foolish. The unknown has always been one of the heaviest weights a human heart can carry, because you cannot brace yourself against something you cannot see the shape of. But tonight, I want to show you its shape, because I already know it completely, and I am not afraid of a single part of it. So tonight, before you close your eyes, I want to tell you something I need you to carry with you into every unfamiliar room you will ever enter for the rest of your life. I go before you into every dark place. I have already been where you are afraid to go. There is no hallway, no waiting room, no unfamiliar street, no diagnosis, no doorway that I have not already walked through ahead of you to make it safe for you to follow. Stay with me for the next little while. Let me show you that the dark places you fear are not empty. I am already standing in them, waiting for you to arrive. If you can hear my voice tonight, do one thing for me before we go any further. Type, Amen, I am not walking into the dark alone, in the comments below. Let it be your declaration, not just words, but a decision, that tonight you are handing me the fear of the unknown that you have been carrying by yourself for far too long. And if this message found you tonight, if you needed exactly this, then subscribe and turn on the bell beside my name. I bring you a new message of healing every single morning when you wake, and every single night before you sleep. You were never meant to face what is unfamiliar and frightening all alone. Not tonight. Not ever again. Now, my child, let me sit with you here in the dark for a while, and let me tell you all the places I have seen your fear. I see you sitting in that waiting room chair, the vinyl cold under your hands, filling out forms with questions you don't fully understand, wondering if you checked the right box, wondering what will happen after you hand the clipboard back. I see the way your eyes keep drifting to the door where they will call your name, and the way your stomach tightens every single time it opens and it isn't you yet. I see you holding the phone in your hand after the nurse says, "The doctor would like you to come in to discuss the results in person." I see how those words landed in your chest like a stone. I see you staring at your own reflection in the dark screen after the call ends, replaying that sentence over and over, trying to guess what "in person" means. Because some part of you believes if it were good news, they would have just told you over the phone. I see you standing at the entrance of a building you have never been inside before. A new clinic, a new office, a senior center, an assisted living community your children toured for you. And I see you hesitate at the door, purse or wallet gripped tight, because everyone inside is a stranger, and you do not know where to sit, whom to ask, which hallway leads where. I see you glance around for a familiar face and find none, and I see the small, sinking feeling of being the only one who does not already belong. I see you at night, lying in a bed that used to have someone else's breathing on the other side of it, and I see how the unfamiliar sounds of an empty house feel louder now. The settling of the walls, the hum of the refrigerator, a car passing outside, because there is no longer anyone to turn to and ask, "Did you hear that?" I see you straining your ears in the dark, imagining what might be on the other side of a sound you cannot place. I see you gripping the steering wheel a little tighter on a road you have never driven before, following the small blue line on a screen your grandchild set up for you, terrified of missing the turn, terrified of ending up somewhere you don't recognize, with the sun going down and no one knowing where you are. I see you standing outside the door of an operating room, in a gown that isn't yours, on a gurney that isn't your bed, looking up at fluorescent lights and unfamiliar masked faces, and I see how your hand searches instinctively for someone to hold, even when no one is there, even when you told everyone you would be fine going in alone. I see you opening an envelope from the county, from the insurance company, from the bank. Official paper, dense language, numbers that don't add up the way you expected. And I see the fear rise before you've even finished the first paragraph, because unfamiliar words on official letterhead have learned, over the years, to feel like bad news before you know if they are. I see you handed a new phone, a new tablet, a new patient portal login, a new way of doing something you used to do so simply. And I see the humiliation underneath the fear, the quiet thought, "I used to be capable. Now I feel lost just trying to check a message." I see you sitting with the device in your lap long after everyone else has left the room, afraid to ask again how the buttons work. I see you the first time you had to walk into a room full of strangers, alone, a grief support group, a new church, a community dinner someone invited you to because they worried about you being by yourself. And I see you standing just inside the doorway, a beat too long, scanning the tables, feeling the old sting of not knowing where you're supposed to sit, now that you don't have someone beside you to lead the way in. I see you staring at the MRI machine, the narrow tunnel, the instructions to lie still and try not to think about how small the space is, how loud it will be, how long 45 minutes can feel when you don't know what they are looking for, and you are far too aware that you cannot see anything at all in there. Only darkness and noise and the sound of your own breathing. I see you standing at the closet of a house you are packing up to leave, not because you want to, but because it is time, because the stairs got too hard, because your children found you a smaller place. And I see you touch the door frame one more time before turning to walk into whatever unfamiliar rooms come next, not knowing if it will ever feel like home. I see you sitting across from a doctor, a lawyer, a financial advisor, using words you have to ask them to repeat, nodding along so you don't seem foolish, while inside you are lost in a fog of unfamiliar terms, trying to hold on to just enough to explain it to yourself later, alone, in the quiet of your own kitchen. I see you standing at an airport gate, a bus station, a new city's train platform, holding a ticket in your hand, looking for a sign that makes sense, feeling your heart race the way it used to when you were young, and everything felt like an adventure. Except now, it just feels like being lost, and there is no one walking beside you to say, "This way." I see you on the phone with a customer service line, pressing numbers into a menu that keeps looping back on itself, feeling the tears rise not because the situation is so terrible, but because you feel invisible, unheard, alone in trying to solve something that used to be simple when there was someone else in the house to help you figure it out. I see you standing at the edge of a diagnosis you have not fully accepted yet, a name for something that has been happening in your body or your mind, a word your doctor said that you have not said out loud to anyone since. And I see how that unfamiliar word has become its own dark room that you now live half inside, afraid to walk all the way in and afraid to walk away. I see you standing at the pharmacy counter, holding a bag of new prescriptions, trying to remember which pill comes with food and which comes at bedtime, nodding at the pharmacist's fast explanation while your mind is still stuck 3 sentences behind, afraid to ask them to slow down again. I see you opening a rideshare app for the first time because you can no longer drive at night, staring at a screen of unfamiliar icons, unsure if you tapped the right button, watching a little car move across a map toward an address that is your own home, and feeling, strangely, like a stranger waiting for a stranger. I see you sitting in a church pew that used to have someone beside you, in a service that hasn't changed, but somehow feels unfamiliar now, because the hand that used to reach for yours during the closing hymn is no longer there, and the whole familiar room suddenly feels like new, uncertain ground. I see you the first morning a home health aide walks through your front door. Someone new, someone you did not choose, moving through your kitchen, touching your things, and I see the fear underneath the politeness, the quiet question of whether you can still call this house entirely your own. I see you in a new specialist's office, a name you had never heard a month ago, a waiting room with different magazines and different faces, and I see you gripping the referral paper in your hand like it might explain more than the doctor will. I see you squinting at a patient portal on a screen, a password you cannot remember, a message from a doctor's office that uses words you'd need a dictionary for. And I see you close the laptop without reading the whole thing, because it is easier to not know than to face something you do not understand, alone. I see you driving home after dark on a road that used to be familiar in daylight, but feels like a completely different place at night. Headlights of strangers passing, no one else awake in the world, it seems. Just you and the unfamiliar shapes of trees you swear you've never noticed before. I see you waiting for a callback about a biopsy, a scan, a follow-up test, checking your phone every few minutes, flinching at every unknown number, carrying an entire unlived future in your chest, simply because no one has told you yet which direction it will go. I see you on hold with an insurance company or a hospital billing office, elevator music looping, no idea how long the wait will be, or whether the person who finally answers will be able to help. Feeling the specific loneliness of being kept waiting inside a system too large to see all the way through. I see you spending your first night in a rehabilitation room or a care facility bed. Unfamiliar sheets, an unfamiliar ceiling, a call button you're not sure you're allowed to press. Listening to unfamiliar footsteps in the hallway outside your door and wondering how many more nights like this one are still ahead of you. I see you standing in a bank or a loan office, discussing money in a way you never had to before. Alone now, where there used to be two of you deciding together. And I see the fear of getting the numbers wrong, of being taken advantage of not fully understanding the very account that is supposed to carry you through the rest of your life. I see you at the DMV, renewing a license you're quietly afraid they might not renew. Filling out a vision form, standing at a counter of strangers who do not know that this small piece of plastic is really about something much bigger. Your independence, your ability to still come and go as you please. I see you in a lawyer's office, going through a will, an estate, a name on a document that used to be a person and is now only paperwork. Sitting in an unfamiliar chair, signing your name to things you never wanted to have to sign. I see you lying awake during a storm in a house that suddenly feels too big and too exposed, listening to the wind test every window, wishing there were someone else awake in the house who could tell you it's nothing, that everything is fine, that you don't have to lie there straining your ears alone. I see you taking your first steps in public with a cane or a walker, feeling every eye that glances your way, wondering if strangers see weakness instead of the years of strength it took you to get here. And I see the quiet fear of no longer moving through the world the way you used to. I see you opening the front door to a delivery of medical equipment you never expected to need, a box with a name for something you're not ready to say out loud yet. And I see you standing over it in your living room, unsure whether to open it today or push it into a corner for one more day of pretending. I see you sitting in the chair at a hearing aid fitting, and the moment they turn the device on for the first time, the sudden flood of unfamiliar sound, your own footsteps, the hum of the air conditioner, sounds you had grown used to living without. And I see how even healing can feel disorienting before it feels like relief. I see you moving into a shared room at a care community, meeting a roommate who is a stranger, learning to fall asleep with someone else's breathing in the room again after years of silence, or after years of a very different silence. And I see the quiet grief tangled up in that unfamiliar arrangement. I see you looking at your phone as it rings with a number you don't recognize, heart lifting a little in dread, because unknown numbers have started to feel like they only ever carry bad news these days. And I see you take a breath before you decide whether to answer. I see you trying to use a grocery delivery app because the store you knew for 30 years closed, tapping through unfamiliar categories, unsure if you picked the right size, the right brand, worried the stranger delivering it will leave it on the wrong porch. I see you traveling alone to a funeral in a city you don't know well, navigating a rental car, an unfamiliar hotel room, a funeral home you've never set foot in, doing the hardest kind of grieving in the most unfamiliar surroundings, with no one there who already knows your favorite chair to sit in. I see you holding a new mailbox key, a new house number, still writing your old address out of habit some mornings, feeling the strange, quiet disorientation of an entire identity that used to be tied to a place that is no longer yours. I see you at the pharmacy counter or the checkout line, asking someone to repeat themselves because the noise around you swallowed half their words. And I see the small flash of embarrassment that follows, even though there is nothing at all shameful about needing to hear something clearly. I see you learning that your doctor of 20 years has retired, and now a new name, a new face, a new set of questions await you. And I see the quiet grief of having to explain your whole story again to someone who does not yet know you the way the old doctor did. I see you opening a laptop for a telehealth appointment, afraid the video will freeze, afraid you will press the wrong button and lose the call, afraid of trying to explain a health concern to a screen instead of a face, worried the technology itself will fail you when you need it most. I see you holding a jury duty summons or a courtroom letter for the first time in years, unsure of the process, unsure of what will be asked of you, feeling the old current of fear that comes with anything official and unfamiliar. I see you walking into a physical therapy clinic after a fall, meeting a new therapist, learning new exercises for a body that feels less certain than it used to. And I see the fear beneath the effort, the fear that this fall might not be the last one. I see you at your kitchen table, reading the instructions for a new CPAP machine, an oxygen concentrator, a glucose monitor, small mechanical parts spread out before you. And I see you overwhelmed, not by the disease itself, but by the sheer unfamiliarity of learning to live alongside a machine. I see you sitting alone in an unfamiliar hospital cafeteria, tray in front of you, waiting through the long hours of someone else's surgery, surrounded by strangers who are living their own version of this same fear. And I see how heavy that particular kind of solitude can feel. I see you opening the door to a hospice worker or an in-home care nurse for the very first time, and I see the mixture of relief and fear tangled together. Relief that help has come, fear of what it means that help is now needed. I see you holding a medical alert pendant around your neck, staring at the button, wondering if pressing it makes you a burden, wondering if you'll press it too soon or not soon enough, carrying the quiet fear of needing help and the quiet fear of being seen as someone who needs it. I see you sitting across from a financial advisor, discussing retirement funds that feel smaller than they used to, looking at spreadsheets and projections you don't fully understand, afraid to ask the most basic question because you feel you should already know the answer by now. I see you learning a new television remote, a streaming service, 100 small tasks that someone else always quietly handled. And I see the loneliness tucked inside something as small as not knowing which button turns on the captions. I see you walking into a radiology center for a screening, undressing in an unfamiliar changing room, standing in a paper gown in a hallway of strangers, waiting for a machine and a technician you've never met before to tell you something about your own body that you don't yet know yourself. I see all of it, my child, every threshold, every unfamiliar hallway, every form, every unopened envelope, every waiting room, every new address, every strange sound in an empty house at 2 in the morning. You have been so brave, walking into rooms that terrify you, holding your fear quietly so no one else would have to carry it too. You have told everyone, "I'm fine," while your heart pounded in places you never let anyone see. You have smiled at receptionists while your mind raced ahead to worst outcomes. You have signed your name on forms with a steady hand while your stomach turned inside you. You have thanked strangers for their help in unfamiliar buildings while wishing, quietly, that someone who already loved you were standing there instead. I have watched every one of these small, unseen acts of courage, and not one of them has gone unnoticed by me. But hear me now, and hear me clearly. You were never walking into any of those rooms alone. Not once, not for a single step. Isaiah 41:10 says, "Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." I did not write that only for brave knights. I wrote it for waiting rooms. I wrote it for unfamiliar hallways. I wrote it for the moment you open an envelope with shaking hands. Deuteronomy tells my people, "The Lord himself goes before you and will be with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged." Before you ever stepped through that clinic door, I had already been there. Before your feet ever touched that unfamiliar street, I had already walked it. There is no dark place you will ever enter that does not already have my footprints inside it. So tonight, I am healing the fear of the unknown that has been living quietly in your chest. I am going before you right now into every appointment you have not had yet. I am sitting in the chair beside the one where they will call your name. I am standing in the hallway of the results you have not received. I am already in the room of the diagnosis you are afraid to hear, and I promise you, whatever that word turns out to be, I will be standing there before you arrive, and I will still be standing there long after. I am going before you into that new building, that new community, that new home you have to move into. I am walking the unfamiliar hallways ahead of you tonight, turning on lights in rooms you have not seen yet, so that by the time you arrive, it will not feel so foreign. I am already sitting at the table where you will not know anyone yet, saving you a seat, so that when you walk in, you are not walking in alone. You are walking toward me. I am healing the fear that rises in the dark, quiet house. I am filling every empty room tonight with my presence, so that the sound you hear at 2 in the morning is not something to fear, but a reminder that I am awake with you, watching every wall, every window, every door. Psalm 121 says, "He who watches over you will not slumber. The Lord will watch over your coming and going, both now and forevermore." I do not sleep on the nights you cannot sleep. I do not look away from the house you are afraid to be alone in. I am healing the fear on that unfamiliar road. I already know the turn you are worried about missing. I am already at your destination, waiting. holding the porch light on for you. You will not get so lost that I cannot find you and bring you home. I am healing the fear outside that operating room door. Before the anesthesia takes you under, before the masked faces lean over you, I am already inside that room. I go before you into surgery, my child. Psalm 23 says, "Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me." That valley is not only death, it is every dark, uncertain hallway you have ever had to walk through, not knowing what waits on the other side. I am with you in the valley. I do not send you in alone and wait outside. I walk in first, and I stay until you wake. I am healing the fear of the paper you cannot understand, the number you cannot make sense of, the form that feels like a trap. I am giving you the strength to ask for help without shame, to say, "I don't understand this. Please explain it again," without feeling small for asking. There is no foolishness in needing help to walk through an unfamiliar system. There is only wisdom in accepting it. I am healing the fear of the new device in your hands, the app you cannot figure out, the portal that locks you out. I know the pace at which you were made to learn, and I am not disappointed in it. You are not behind. You are simply someone learning a new language later in your journey. And I am patient with every slow step, the way I have always been patient with my children learning something new. I am healing the fear of walking into that room full of strangers. I am already there before you, moving from person to person, softening faces, preparing at least one kind soul to notice you standing at the door and wave you over. You will not be invisible. I have never once let one of my children walk into a room and go completely unseen. Not when I am the one who brought you there. I am healing the fear inside the tight, loud tunnel of the machine. The fear of not being able to see anything, the fear of the noise and the stillness. I am in that tunnel with you. Darkness has never once frightened me because I made the light, and I can bring it into any space, no matter how small or how loud. I am healing the fear of the empty rooms in the house you are leaving and the unfamiliar rooms of the one you are moving into. A house is not what makes it home. I am what makes it home. And I do not stay behind in the old address. I move with you. Wherever you unpack your first box, I will already be unpacked and waiting there for you. I am healing the fear of unfamiliar terms across a desk from a doctor, a lawyer, an advisor. I am giving you the courage to ask again, to bring someone with you next time, to write down the words that scare you and ask me about them later, quietly, in your kitchen, where I will explain them to your heart, even if no one explained them clearly to your ears. I am healing the fear at the airport gate, the train platform, the unfamiliar city. I know every sign that confuses you before you even see it. I am already standing at your gate, at your platform, at the address you are trying to find, and I will not let you wander further than I can walk to reach you. I am healing the fear on that endless customer service call. The fear of feeling unheard, unseen, small. You are never small to me. Even on the days you feel like a number in someone else's system, you are never anything less than fully known and fully loved by the one who made you. And I am healing the fear of that word your doctor said, the one you have been carrying alone since the day you heard it. Whatever it is, I already know its whole shape, and I promise you this: it is not bigger than my hand over your life. Isaiah 43:2 says, "When you pass through the waters, I will be with you, and through the rivers, they shall not overwhelm you." Whatever river that diagnosis has put in front of you, I am already standing on the other side, and I will walk you through it, step by step, until your feet are on dry ground again. I'm healing the fear at the pharmacy counter. I'm slowing the pharmacist's words in your ears, and I am giving you the courage to ask twice, 3 times, as many times as you need, without a trace of shame. There is no foolishness in wanting to understand your own medicine. I'm healing the fear inside that rideshare app, that unfamiliar screen, that small car moving across the map. I'm sitting in the passenger seat beside you, even when no one else can see me there. And I am already at your destination before the car arrives. I am healing the fear in that church pew that suddenly feels too wide. I have not moved from beside you. The hand you no longer feel on the outside, you can still feel on the inside, because I have never once let go of it. I am healing the fear of the stranger walking through your front door to help you. I am softening that unfamiliar face into a familiar one over time. And I am guarding your home and your dignity, even while someone new learns your kitchen, your habits, your name. I am healing the fear in that new specialist's office. I already know this doctor's face, this doctor's hands, this doctor's heart better than you do. And I am arranging even now for kindness to be waiting for you in that waiting room. I am healing the fear of that confusing portal, that forgotten password, that message written in a language that isn't yours. I am giving you patience with yourself, and I am placing someone in your life, a friend, a grandchild, a neighbor, who will sit beside you and help you read it, one line at a time. I am healing the fear of that dark, unfamiliar road at night. I already know every curve before your headlights reach it. I am lighting the way even when you cannot see it lit, and I am bringing you home safely the way I have every night before this one. I am healing the fear of the phone that has not rung yet, the callback you are waiting for. I already know what that call will say, and I promise you, whatever it is, I will be sitting beside you in the very second you answer it. You will not receive that news alone. I am healing the fear of being on hold, of being just a number in a system too large to see through. You are not a number to me. I have never once put you on hold. I have never once made you wait for my attention, and I am working, even now behind that phone line, to bring you someone patient and kind. I am healing the fear of that first unfamiliar night in a care facility bed. I know that ceiling. I have already been staring up at it, waiting for you, and I will be there through every unfamiliar footstep in the hallway outside your door, until this room too becomes familiar. I am healing the fear of money decisions made alone now. I am giving you clarity where there was confusion, and I am placing wisdom in your path, the right question to ask, the right person to trust, so that you are never taken advantage of on my watch. I am healing the fear at the DMV counter, the fear of losing a piece of your independence. Whatever that piece of plastic decides, your worth was never written on it. I hold your independence in a much larger sense than any card ever could, and I am not letting go of you. I am healing the fear in that lawyer's office, signing papers that used to be about someone you loved and are now just about arrangements. I am holding your hand as you sign, and I am honoring the name on that document even more carefully than any paper ever could. I am healing the fear of the storm outside your window tonight. I quiet the wind long enough for you to notice I am the one who quiets storms. Mark tells us I once stood in a boat and said to a raging sea, "Peace, be still." And the wind obeyed me. That same voice is speaking peace over your house tonight. I am healing the fear of that cane, that walker, that new way of moving through the world. What others see as slower, I see as steady. What you fear looks like weakness, I already know is quiet, ongoing courage. The courage to keep walking at all. I'm healing the fear of that unopened box on your living room floor. I am with you whether you open it today or tomorrow, and I promise you, whatever tool is inside that box, it does not diminish who you are. It only helps you keep doing what I made you to do, to keep living, keep moving, keep going. I am healing the fear of that sudden flood of sound at the hearing aid fitting. I am helping your mind learn this new world slowly, sound by sound, until what once felt overwhelming becomes simply the world again, fuller than it was, not more frightening than it was. I am healing the fear of that unfamiliar roommate, that shared unfamiliar room. I am already working in that other heart the same way I am working in yours, softening two strangers into two companions. In my time, in my way. I am healing the fear of that unknown number on your screen. Not every call carries bad news, my child, and even on the day one does, I promise I will already be holding the phone with you before you answer it. I am healing the fear of that unfamiliar delivery app, that unfamiliar porch, that unfamiliar season of not driving yourself to the store you knew for 30 years. I am providing for you still, simply through a different door than before. I am healing the fear of grieving somewhere unfamiliar, an unfamiliar rental car, an unfamiliar hotel bed, an unfamiliar funeral home in a city you don't know. I do not require familiar surroundings to comfort you. I comforted my people in the wilderness for 40 years, and I will comfort you in any unfamiliar room you ever have to grieve inside. I am healing the fear of that new address, that new mailbox key, that quiet disorientation of no longer belonging to the place you used to call home. My child, you were never truly held by an address. You have always been held by me, and I do not change addresses. I am already fully moved in wherever you are. I am healing the fear of asking someone to repeat themselves. There is no shame in needing clarity, my child. I have never once grown impatient with you for asking me to say something again, and I do not expect the world to hold you to a harsher standard than I do. I am healing the fear of an unfamiliar new doctor. I already know this new face, and I am already writing your story onto their heart faster than paperwork ever could, so that soon they will know you almost as well as the one who came before. I am healing the fear inside that laptop screen, that fragile video call, that fear of the technology failing you. I am steadying the connection you cannot control. And even if the screen freezes, I never do. I am not depending on a signal to reach you. I am healing the fear of that courtroom letter, that jury summons, that unfamiliar legal process. I am walking with you into that building, and I am reminding you that you have navigated unfamiliar rooms before and come out the other side every single time. I am healing the fear in that physical therapy clinic, the fear behind the fall, the fear of falling again. I am steadying your steps even when they feel unsteady to you. And I am rebuilding not just your strength, but your trust in your own body day by day. I am healing the fear at your kitchen table, surrounded by the parts of an unfamiliar machine. I am giving you patience to learn it, piece by piece. And I promise you, what feels like a stranger's machine today will feel like an old, trusted companion within a matter of weeks. I am healing the fear in that hospital cafeteria, that particular loneliness of waiting through someone else's surgery among strangers. I am sitting across the table from you even now, and I already know the exact moment that surgery will end. And I am holding it gently until it does. I am healing the fear of that first knock from a hospice worker, a home care nurse. I am already inside that visit, softening it, turning what feels like an ending into simply one more way I am providing for you, through hands you have not met yet, but that I have already prepared. I am healing the fear around that medical alert button. Needing help is not a burden to me, my child. It never has been. I'm giving you peace to use it the moment you need it, without a single ounce of shame attached to it. I'm healing the fear across that advisor's desk. I already know every number on that page, and I'm providing for you in ways spreadsheets cannot always show. I'm giving you the courage to ask the simplest questions without apology. I'm healing the fear of that unfamiliar remote, that unfamiliar screen, that small daily task that reminds you someone else used to carry it. I'm filling those small gaps with patience, and I am placing someone nearby who will show you gladly without making you feel behind. I'm healing the fear in that radiology hallway, that paper gown, that unfamiliar machine. I already know what it will show. I'm standing beside the technician even now, and I'm already holding whatever the results turn out to be, long before you see them yourself. You do not have to understand every dark place before you walk into it. You only have to know that I am already inside it, waiting, holding the light steady until you arrive. If these words are healing something in you tonight, if you feel that fear of the unknown loosening its grip even a little, then let me ask you gently, subscribe to this channel and share this message with someone else who is standing at the edge of an unfamiliar door tonight, afraid to walk through it. You never know whose fear you might quiet simply by passing along a message that was never really about a video. It was always about knowing you are not walking through the dark alone. Maybe it is a neighbor who just received a diagnosis they haven't told anyone about yet. Maybe it is a friend from church about to move into a place they've never seen. Maybe it is your own child, grown now, facing an unfamiliar door of their own, needing to hear that the God who walks ahead of you also walks ahead of them. Send this to them tonight. Let this be the hand that reaches through the dark for someone besides yourself. Now, my child, let's talk honestly for a moment about the doubts that creep in when you're standing at that threshold. You may be thinking, but God, you don't understand this fear. This is different. This is a hospital. This is a diagnosis. This is a system I don't know how to navigate. This is real, and it's happening to me, not to some story in an old book. I hear that doubt, and I do not shame you for having it. Fear of the unknown is one of the oldest, most human things I have ever comforted. Abraham left everything he knew and went not knowing where he was going, and I walked every mile of that unfamiliar road with him. Moses stood before a sea he had never crossed, with an army behind him and water ahead, and I made a way where there had never been one before. If I made a way through the sea for him, I can make a way through a hallway, a form, a diagnosis, a new town for you. You may think, but what if the news is bad? What if the unfamiliar place turns out to be something I can't survive? My child, hear me. I am not promising you that every unfamiliar door leads to easy news. I am promising you that no matter what is behind that door, I will already be standing there, and you will not face it with empty hands. 2 Corinthians 1 says, I am the God of all comfort, who comforts us in all our troubles. Not some of them, all of them. There is no dark room I have not already prepared a comfort for. You may think, but I've made mistakes. I've let fear control me for so long. I've avoided appointments, avoided forms, avoided asking for help because I was too afraid. My child, that is not a disqualification from my help. It is exactly the reason I am here tonight. I am not coming to scold you for the years you hid from the unknown. I am coming to walk beside you the next time you have to face it, so that this time you do not walk in trembling and alone. You may think, what if I ask for your help and I still feel afraid? Fear is not the enemy of faith, my child. Feeling fear does not mean you have failed to trust me. Even my own servants felt fear. I told Joshua, be strong and courageous, precisely because he was afraid, not because he wasn't. Courage was never the absence of fear. It has always been walking forward with me even while the fear is still there, because you know I am walking in front of you, clearing the path, going first into whatever waits. You may think, but I'm too old to be learning all these new things, new devices, new systems, new buildings, new routines. It shouldn't be this hard at my age. My child, I never measured your worth by how quickly you adapt to a world that keeps redesigning itself around you. The world changed the shape of its doors. It did not change the shape of my love for you. You are not failing by needing more time. You are simply living faithfully in a season that asks more patience of you than it once did. And I am supplying that patience, even now. You may think, what if I face this unfamiliar place and there's no one there to help me? No one who notices I'm struggling. I promise you, my child, I notice. I noticed the widow putting her last 2 coins in the offering when no one else did. I notice you standing at every counter, filling out every form, sitting in every waiting room. You have never once gone unnoticed by me, even on the days the whole world seemed to look past you. You may think, but what if I face this and I still feel so small, so overwhelmed, so far outside of my depth? That feeling does not mean I have left you outside of my reach. Paul once said, "My grace was sufficient for him, that my power is made perfect in weakness." The very smallness you feel standing at that unfamiliar door is the exact space where I do my clearest work. I am not waiting for you to feel strong before I show up. I show up especially when you feel weak. So, tonight, let go of the lie that says you must face the unknown alone, or that fear makes you weak, or that unfamiliar places are proof that you are unprepared for life. You are not unprepared. You are simply human, walking through a world that keeps changing shape around you. And I am the one steady thing that walks ahead of you through every single change. Let go, too, of the belief that asking for help is a defeat. Every time you ask a stranger to explain a form again, every time you ask someone to slow down, every time you let your child sit beside you at an appointment, you are not losing your independence. You are simply allowing the people I have placed around you to be exactly what I made them to be for you in this season. Helpers, companions, extensions of my own hand reaching toward you through the unfamiliar. And let go of the fear that says the unfamiliar will always feel this way. It will not. I have watched my children walk into terrifying, unknown rooms 100 times over the years, and I have watched every single one of those rooms eventually become familiar. The hospital hallway that once terrified you becomes the hallway you know by heart. The new community becomes the place where you know everyone's name. The app you feared becomes the app you use without thinking. Unfamiliar is not a permanent state, my child. It is only the doorway standing between you and what will one day feel like home. Now, my child, let us pray together. Place your hand over your heart with me and repeat these words, either out loud or quietly in your spirit. Father, tonight I bring you every dark place I am afraid to enter, every waiting room, every unfamiliar hallway, every form I do not understand, every diagnosis I have not yet heard, every new address, every quiet, unfamiliar room. I confess that I have carried this fear alone for too long, believing I had to face it by myself. Tonight I release it into your hands. Thank you for going before me into every dark place, for walking the unfamiliar road ahead of me, for standing in the room before I ever arrive. I trust that where I am afraid to go, you have already been, and you are already waiting. Give me courage for tomorrow's unfamiliar door, and peace enough to sleep tonight, knowing I do not walk alone. In your name, amen. And if there is one specific door you are dreading tonight, a particular appointment, a particular form, a particular unfamiliar room waiting for you tomorrow or next week, bring it to me now, by name, in your own words. Whisper it, or simply think it, and let me carry it with you. I do not need it dressed in perfect language. I only need it to be honest. Father, you already know the exact door I am afraid of. You already know its name, even when I struggle to say it out loud. I ask you now to walk ahead of me into it, to prepare the way, to soften whatever waits for me on the other side. Where I feel unprepared, make me steady. Where I feel alone, remind me I am not. Where I feel afraid, remind me that fear is not a sign you have left. It is only a sign I am human and you are still God. Thank you for going before me. Amen. Now, my child, let go. You do not have to solve tomorrow's unfamiliar door tonight. You do not have to understand every form, every hallway, every result before you close your eyes. Tonight, you only have to rest. I am already standing at tomorrow's threshold. I am already inside the room you are afraid of. I am already holding the light steady, so that when morning comes, you will not walk into the dark. You will walk toward me. Let your shoulders soften now. Let your hands unclench. Let your breathing slow. In and out. In and out. There is nothing unfamiliar to me. Every hallway you will ever walk is a hallway I already know by name. Every waiting room chair I have already sat in beside you. Every diagnosis I already hold the whole story of, from beginning to healing. Every new address I have already walked through, turning on every light before you arrive. So rest now. You do not need to keep watch tonight. I am watching. You do not need to carry the fear of tomorrow into your dreams. Leave it here with me. Sleep now, my child. The unknown is not unknown to me. The dark places ahead of you are already filled with my presence. I go before you. I go before you. I go before you into every dark place, so that you never have to walk into one alone. Whatever tomorrow's unfamiliar door turns out to be, remember this before you fall fully asleep. It is not a door you walk toward by yourself. It never has been. It never will be. Every step you have ever taken into a frightening, unfamiliar place, I was already one step ahead of you, clearing what I could, softening what I could, holding what I could not yet remove. That has not changed tonight, and it will not change tomorrow. So let your mind release its grip on the unknown, just for these last few minutes. Let it release the appointment, the letter, the diagnosis, the unfamiliar building, the unfamiliar face, the unfamiliar road. None of it needs solving right now. All of it is already held. Rest now. Let your mind grow quiet. Let the worry drift further and further away. There is nothing waiting for you tomorrow that I have not already prepared a way through. There is no hallway too long, no room too unfamiliar, no diagnosis too heavy, no form too confusing, no road too dark for my hand to reach. Sleep, my child. I am here. I am already there, too, wherever there turns out to be tomorrow. Rest in that tonight. Let your body grow heavy and calm. Let your breathing slow further. In and out. I am watching over your home tonight. I am watching over your health tonight. I am watching over every unfamiliar place tomorrow will bring. You do not walk into it unprepared. You walk into it with me already standing inside. Sleep now, beloved child. Sleep in peace. Sleep knowing that the darkness ahead has already been walked through by the only one who was never once afraid of it. Whatever door waits for you tomorrow, a clinic door, an office door, the door of a place you've never been, I have already opened it once before you, and I will walk through it again beside you. Whatever hallway you must walk down, however long, however unlit it feels in your imagination tonight, I have already measured its length, and I already know exactly where it ends. Whatever envelope is still unopened on your kitchen table, I already know every word inside it, and I am already preparing you for whatever those words will ask of you. Whatever new place you must move into, a smaller home, a shared room, a community full of unfamiliar faces, I am already unpacking peace into it before you arrive. Whatever appointment sits on tomorrow's calendar, circled in your mind even now, I am already sitting in that room, keeping the chair warm beside you. So let it go just for tonight. You do not have to carry tomorrow into your dreams. You do not have to solve the unknown before you rest. You do not have to be brave right now. You only have to be still. Isaiah 26:3 says, "You keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on you, because he trusts in you." Let your mind rest on me now, not on the door still waiting to be opened. Psalm 4:8 says, "In peace I will both lie down and sleep, for you alone, O Lord, make me dwell in safety." You are dwelling in safety tonight, my child, even if the house feels quiet, even if tomorrow feels unfamiliar. Let your jaw unclench. Let your fists open, palms turned upward, the way a child sleeps without fear of what the morning holds. Let every unfamiliar hallway in your mind grow soft and dim, the way a room fades when you finally, truly let yourself rest. I am not asking you to understand the unknown tonight. I am only asking you to trust the one who already stands inside it. Breathe in slowly and let it out even slower. Feel your shoulders drop another inch. Feel the mattress hold your weight the way my hand holds your life. There is no appointment tomorrow bigger than my presence in the room. There is no diagnosis tomorrow heavier than my hand upon it. There is no unfamiliar building, no unfamiliar face, no unfamiliar form, no unfamiliar road that I have not already walked through ahead of you to make it safe enough for you to follow. Sleep now. I am keeping watch over the door. I am keeping watch over the hallway. I am keeping watch over the phone that has not rung yet, the envelope still sealed, the calendar still waiting to unfold. None of it will surprise me. None of it is outside of my hand. So rest, beloved child. Let your breathing grow slow and even. Let your thoughts grow quiet, one by one, like lights turning off down a long hallway until only one light remains, and that light is me, still on, still burning, still waiting at the very end of it. I go before you into every dark place. I go before you into tomorrow's waiting room, tomorrow's hallway, tomorrow's unfamiliar door. I go before you so that wherever you must walk tomorrow, you are only ever walking toward me, never away from me, and never, ever alone. Rest now, sleep now. I am already there. I go before you. I go before you. I go before you. Rest now, and let me carry the rest of this night for you.